The Silent Awakening. The quantum anomaly pulsed like a heartbeat against the void, its rhythmic fluctuations barely registering on the Shanghai sensors. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the phenomenon that had brought humanity's most advanced research vessel to the edge of known space. 20 years of studying quantum mechanics hadn't prepared her for this moment. Analysis complete, Dr. Chen. The ship's AI projected a holographic display beside her. The anomaly's frequency matches no known natural occurrence in our database. Sarah traced her finger through the hologram, following the wave patterns that defied conventional physics. Cross-reference with theoretical models of quantum bridges, era. Something about these oscillations feels deliberate. Before the AI could respond, the ship's emergency protocols activated. Red warning lights bathed the observation deck in crimson as First Officer Marcus Rodriguez's voice cut through the comm system. Unknown vessels emerging from fold space. All hands to stations. 3 ships materialized from seemingly nowhere, their hulls gleaming with an iridescent material that seemed to bend light around them. They were massive, each easily dwarfing the Shanghai, and bore markings unlike anything in human records. Dr. Chen to the bridge, Captain Diana Walsh's steady voice commanded. "Bring your quantum readings." The bridge hummed with controlled tension as Sarah arrived. The main view screen displayed the alien vessels, now arranged in a perfect equilateral triangle around the anomaly. Captain Walsh, a veteran of first contact scenarios, stood with her hands clasped behind her back, her silver hair pulled tight in a regulation bun. "They're scanning us," Lieutenant Park reported from his station. "But their technology, it's like nothing we've encountered. The scans aren't just examining our ship, they're analyzing our quantum states." Sarah's tablet chirped in alert. "Captain, the anomaly's frequency is shifting. It's responding to their presence." A new voice filled the bridge, not through the comm system, but seemingly from the air itself. "Children of Earth, you stand at a threshold few species have found." The words came in perfect English, yet somehow carried undertones that suggested multiple voices speaking in harmony. "We are the collective, and you have surprised us." Captain Walsh stepped forward. "This is Captain Diana Walsh of the Earth Science Vessel Shanghai. We come in peace, seeking knowledge." "Knowledge," the voice echoed, a note of what might have been amusement coloring the word. "You seek what you already possess, though you do not yet understand it. Your presence here was unexpected. The quantum signature of your species should not have led you to this place for another 1,000 years." Sarah's instruments were going wild. The quantum readings from the alien ships showed impossible patterns, as if they existed in multiple states simultaneously. "Captain," she whispered, "their technology isn't just advanced. They're manipulating quantum fields at a macroscopic level." The voice of the collective continued. "Dr. Sarah Chen speaks truth, yet does not grasp the full implications. Humanity's understanding of quantum mechanics is unique. Where other species require technology to perceive the deeper layers of reality, your kind sees naturally." The bridge crew exchanged glances. Sarah's mind raced through years of research data, countless experiments that had yielded unexpected results. "The quantum consciousness studies," she breathed. "The unexplained correlations between human observation and quantum state collapse." "Yes." The voice grew stronger. "Your species evolved in isolation, developing abilities that others achieved only through millennia of technological advancement. You are natural quantum observers, though you have barely begun to understand this gift." Captain Walsh's diplomatic training kicked in. "You've been watching us." "We watch all emerging species, Captain. But humanity warranted special attention. The anomaly you detected is a beacon, one of many scattered throughout the galaxy. They respond only to species capable of natural quantum observation. You are the first to activate one in 50,000 years." The implication staggered Sarah. Her whole career studying quantum mechanics, all those moments when experiments produced results that seemed to defy probability. They hadn't been anomalies. They had been glimpses of humanity's true nature. "The collective extends an invitation," the voice announced. "Your ship will be granted safe passage to our nearest hub world. There, we will begin the process of introducing humanity to the greater galaxy. But more importantly, we will help you understand what you truly are." Captain Walsh straightened her uniform. "We'll need to contact Earth Command for authorization." "Of course. But first, a demonstration of what awaits." The alien ship's quantum fields synchronized, and the anomaly between them expanded. Reality itself seemed to fold, creating a window into somewhere else. Through it, Sarah caught glimpses of impossible architecture, structures that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "Your species stands at a crossroads," the collective voice explained. "You have developed technology and culture in isolation, but your true potential lies in understanding the quantum nature of consciousness itself. The galaxy needs this gift, more than you yet realize." Sarah couldn't tear her eyes from the dimensional window. In that moment, she understood that humanity's journey to the stars had only been the beginning. They weren't just exploring space, they were about to explore the fundamental nature of reality itself. "Captain," she said, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment, "I believe we've just become part of something much bigger than a research mission." Diana Walsh nodded, her expression both concerned and determined. "Send the message to Earth Command, Lieutenant Park. Tell them humanity just learned we're not quite what we thought we were, and we need to decide what to do about it." The quantum anomaly pulsed once more, its rhythm now matching the collective heartbeat of every human aboard the Shanghai. As Sarah watched her readings, she realized that this was more than first contact. This was the moment humanity would begin to understand its true place in a universe far stranger and more wonderful than they had imagined. The journey to understanding what it meant to be human was about to take an unexpected turn. And somewhere in the quantum fields that permeated reality, ancient forces stirred, awakening to the presence of a species that could bridge the gap between the mundane and the divine. Echoes of divinity. The collective's hub world defied conventional description. Massive structures phased in and out of reality, their geometries following patterns that made Sarah's eyes water when she tried to focus on them too long. 3 weeks had passed since the Shanghai's historic first contact, and Earth's scientific community was still reeling from the implications. Ambassador Kekstal, the collective's primary liaison, stood beside Sarah in the quantum observatory. Their crystalline form caught the light from 1,000-dimensional rifts, scattering it in prismatic patterns across the chamber's fluid architecture. "Your species' ability to perceive quantum states naturally is unprecedented." Kekstal's thoughts resonated directly in Sarah's mind. "What we achieved through eons of technological advancement, you developed through simple evolution." Sarah watched as another research team, a mixture of humans and various alien species, conducted experiments with what the collective called God particles. The name was misleading. They weren't divine in nature, but rather quantum structures that seemed to exist simultaneously across multiple dimensions. "I still don't understand why," Sarah admitted. "Why would humans develop this ability? Earth isn't particularly special in terms of quantum phenomena." Kekstal's crystalline form shifted. A gesture Sarah had learned indicated deep thought. "Perhaps that is precisely why. Your isolation forced adaptation. Other species developed technology to interact with quantum fields. Humanity had to develop the capability internally." A commotion from the research floor drew their attention. Dr. James Martinez, another quantum physicist from Earth, stood at the center of a complex array of instruments. The God particles around him were behaving differently than they had with any previous observer. "Remarkable," Kekstal whispered. "He's stabilizing the field naturally." Sarah checked her readings. The quantum field wasn't just stable, it was forming patterns that the collective's most advanced systems had never achieved. Martinez wasn't controlling the particles, he was communicating with them. "Ambassador," Sarah began carefully, "you still haven't told us why the collective is so interested in these particles. What's their true significance? The crystalline beings form darkened slightly. We believe they are fragments of consciousness from the universe's earliest moments. Some among the collective theorize they are thoughts of the cosmos itself, crystallized into quantum structures. Before Sarah could process this, alarms blared throughout the facility. The quantum fields surrounding Martinez began to pulse with increasing intensity. What had started as a simple observation experiment was becoming something else entirely. The field is collapsing, someone shouted. But Sarah's instruments told a different story. The field wasn't collapsing. It was condensing, focusing itself around Martinez like water swirling down a drain. Everyone clear the area, Sarah commanded, rushing toward her colleague. But Martinez seemed transfixed, his eyes reflecting patterns that shouldn't exist in normal spacetime. I can hear them, he whispered as Sarah reached him. The particles. They're not just data. They're memories. The universe's memories. Kextel moved with surprising speed for a crystalline being, their form flowing across the chamber. This is unprecedented. No species has ever achieved direct communication with the God particles. The quantum field continued to intensify, but instead of the catastrophic reaction everyone had feared, it formed a stable matrix around Martinez. Through it, images began to form, not holograms or projections, but windows into other places, other times. The universe is conscious, Martinez spoke, his voice overlaid with harmonic frequencies that reminded Sarah of the collective's first communication. It always has been. The God particles aren't just fragments. They're synapses in a cosmic nervous system. Sarah's scientific mind raced to process the implications. That's why human consciousness interacts so naturally with quantum fields. We're not just observers. We're compatible with the universe's own consciousness structure. Yes, Kextel confirmed, their form resonating with the quantum frequencies. And now you understand why some within the collective fear this discovery. Your species doesn't just observe quantum reality. You can communicate with it, perhaps even influence it. The chamber had fallen silent except for the harmonic hum of the quantum field. Representatives from dozens of species watched as Martinez continued to interface with the God particles, each translation revealing more about the nature of reality itself. But Sarah noticed something else, something in the way certain members of the collective were reacting. Fear. Not all of them welcomed this human ability to commune with the fundamental consciousness of the universe. Ambassador, she said quietly, how many species in the collective opposed inviting humanity to this facility? Kextel's form rippled. More than half. But those of us who understood the true nature of the God particles knew we needed you. The universe is trying to communicate something vital, Dr. Chen. Something urgent. And humanity may be the only species capable of receiving the message. As if in response to Kextel's words, the quantum field around Martinez shifted again. The windows into other realities began showing something new, something that made even the most seasoned collective scientists step back in alarm. There's something coming, Martinez said, his voice now barely recognizable. Something that exists outside the universe's consciousness. The God particles aren't just memories or synapses. They're an immune system. And they're activating because they've detected a threat. Sarah watched as the quantum windows revealed glimpses of an approaching darkness, not just an absence of light, but an absence of reality itself. The universe was aware, and it was afraid. This, Kextel announced to the chamber, is why we sought you out. Why we broke our own protocols to contact humanity before your scheduled emergence. The universe chose your species as its defenders, and we have precious little time to help you understand why. The God particles pulsed once more, their message now clear to everyone present. Humanity's quantum consciousness wasn't just a quirk of evolution. It was a response to a coming crisis that would test not just their species, but reality itself. The Celestial Bridge. In the 3 months since Martinez's communion with the God particles, the collective's hub world had transformed into humanity's crash course in cosmic consciousness. The massive quantum research chamber now housed representatives from every major Earth nation, working alongside alien scientists to understand their species' unique capabilities. Sarah stood at the center of the latest experiment, surrounded by a constellation of God particles that responded to her presence like eager students to a beloved teacher. Around her, the chamber's dimensional walls rippled with anticipation. Neural synchronization at 40%, Dr. Yuki Tanaka announced from her monitoring station. Quantum field coherence stable and rising. Unlike Martinez's accidental breakthrough, this attempt at cross-dimensional communication was carefully planned. The collective had spent weeks preparing the chamber's quantum architecture, creating what they called a consciousness amplifier. Remember, Kextol's thoughts resonated through the chamber. Do not attempt to control the particles. Let them guide you through the dimensional barriers. Human consciousness naturally resonates with them. Trust that connection. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the quantum field's subtle vibrations. The God particles weren't just responding to her presence anymore. They were actively reaching out, trying to show her something beyond normal spacetime. Field coherence at 60%, Yuki called out. Sarah, your neural patterns are shifting into quantum alignment. The sensation was indescribable, like suddenly gaining a new sense that had always been there, dormant. Through the God particles, Sarah could feel the fabric of reality itself, pulsing with life and purpose. But there was something else, something trying to make contact from elsewhere. I'm getting something, Sarah whispered, her voice carrying harmonic overtones that made the chamber's crystal walls sing in response. It's there. The quantum field exploded with light, but instead of the feared collapse, it expanded into a stable geometric pattern. Within its structure, shapes began to form, not the random windows of Martinez's experience, but a deliberate communication. They emerged like oil paintings made of light and probability, beings that existed in dimensions beyond human comprehension, yet chose forms that Sarah's mind could process. They were beautiful and terrible, their bodies composed of mathematical certainties and quantum uncertainties woven together. We see you, bridge makers, they communicated, not in words, but in pure concepts that bloomed directly in Sarah's consciousness. For so long, we have watched and waited for a species that could span the gap between dimensions. Through their connection, Sarah understood. These beings were the ones who had seeded the God particles throughout the universe, creating a nervous system that could detect and respond to threats. They were the universe's immune system engineers, and they had been waiting for humanity. The Void Eaters approach, they continued, sharing visions that made Sarah's heart race. They consume not just matter and energy, but probability itself. They devour possibility, leaving only singular dead certainties in their wake. The chamber erupted in chaos as the being's message was automatically translated and broadcast to all present. Sarah heard gasps and cries of alarm from both human and alien observers, but she remained focused on the connection. Why us? She asked through the quantum field. Why did humanity evolve this ability? Because you had to, they answered. Your species evolved in isolation, forced to develop internal quantum sensitivity rather than relying on technology. You became living bridges between classical and quantum reality. And now you must become bridges between dimensions. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. On the primary display screens, reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. The Void Eaters had been detected, their non-existence cutting swaths through the quantum fabric of spacetime. Sarah, Kextol's thoughts carried urgency. The connection is becoming unstable. We must end this before. But it was too late. The quantum field had locked into a resonance pattern with Sarah's consciousness, and through her, it was connecting with every human in the chamber. One by one, their minds linked through the God particles, forming a network of quantum-aware consciousness that expanded beyond the facility's walls. The network is spreading, Yuki reported, her own voice now carrying the same harmonic overtones as Sarah's. Every human within range is being drawn into the quantum synchronization. Through their collective consciousness, humanity began to truly understand their role. They weren't just observers or communicators. They were catalysts meant to activate the universe's defensive systems against a threat that existed outside of reality itself. "Your time of preparation is over," the extra-dimensional beings declared. The Void Eaters approach faster than anticipated. "You must unite your species' consciousness and awaken the God particles across the galaxy. The universe requires its immune system, and humanity is the key to activating it." As the connection faded, Sarah opened her eyes to find the chamber in silent awe. The quantum field had stabilized into a new configuration, one that linked every human present into a subtle but permanent network of shared consciousness. "We need to contact Earth immediately," she said, her voice still carrying ethereal harmonics. "Every human needs to understand what's coming and what we have to do." Kextel's crystalline form pulsed with concern. "The purest factions within the collective will resist. They already fear human potential. This revelation will only intensify their opposition." "They don't have a choice," Sarah replied, watching as the God particles continued to dance around her in complex patterns. "None of us do. The Void Eaters are coming, and humanity's evolution into quantum consciousness wasn't an accident. It was the universe's preparation for this moment." Through the quantum network, she could feel the truth of it. Humanity hadn't just discovered its place in the cosmos. They had discovered their purpose. They were the universe's immune response, evolved specifically to face a threat that existed outside of reality itself. Harbinger of change. The first Void Eater breach appeared in the Carina Nebula, a wound in reality that swallowed light, matter, and possibility itself. Through the quantum consciousness network, every human in the galaxy felt it, a cold emptiness that threatened to unravel the fabric of existence. Sarah stood before the emergency session of the Collective Council, her consciousness still linked to billions of humans across settled space. The Grand Chamber, designed to accommodate representatives of 1,000 species, now hosted the most important meeting in galactic history. "The Void Eaters have consumed 3 star systems already," she reported, projecting quantum-enhanced visualizations above the council floor. "They don't just destroy, they erase. No alternate timelines, no quantum possibilities, just nothing." High Counselor Vaxlith, a being of pure energy contained within an ornic mechanical shell, leaned forward. "The Purest Alliance demands to know why humanity kept the extent of their quantum abilities hidden. They claim this is a manufactured crisis to seize control of the collective." Hidden. Sarah let out a bitter laugh. "We didn't even know what we were until 3 months ago. But right now, that doesn't matter. What matters is that we're the only species capable of activating the universe's defensive systems." Through the quantum network, she felt the surge of agreement from humans throughout the galaxy. In the months since the discovery of their abilities, humanity had learned to coordinate their consciousness in ways that defied conventional physics. "Show them," Kextel prompted from their position beside her. Sarah nodded and reached out through the quantum field. God particles throughout the chamber responded, coalescing into a living map of the galaxy. Red zones marked Void Eater incursions, while golden points of light showed activated defense nodes, ancient quantum structures that humanity was slowly learning to control. "Every human is now part of a quantum neural network that spans the galaxy," she explained. "We can sense the Void Eaters' approach and activate the defensive systems left behind by the Ancient Ones. But we need the collective's help to evacuate threatened systems and coordinate our response." A ripple of unease passed through the council. The Purest representative, a massive silicon-based life form named Kroth, rose from its seat. "This is unprecedented. No single species should have such power over reality itself. The Purest Alliance cannot what?" Martinez interrupted, stepping forward. Since his initial communion with the God particles, he had become humanity's strongest quantum channel. "Cannot accept that the universe chose us for this role. Cannot face the fact that technology alone won't save us from what's coming." The chamber erupted in argument, thousands of voices raising in dozens of languages. But through it all, Sarah felt something else, a disturbance in the quantum field that made her blood run cold. "They're here," she whispered, then louder. "THEYRE here." The chamber's dimensional windows shattered as reality itself buckled. Through the broken barriers, the council caught their first direct glimpse of a Void Eater, a thing that existed in the spaces between possibilities, its very presence causing probability to collapse into crushing certainty. "Evacuation protocols," High Counselor Vaxlith commanded, but Sarah was already moving. Through the quantum network, she reached out to every human within range. Their combined consciousness surged through the God particles, forming a barrier of pure probability. A wall of possible futures so dense that even the Void Eater couldn't immediately consume it. "This is what we can do," Martinez announced to the stunned council. "This is why we evolved these abilities. We don't just observe quantum reality. We can strengthen it, reinforce it against these things that would devour possibility itself." The Void Eater recoiled from the quantum barrier, its non-existence rippling with what might have been confusion. Through the network, Sarah felt humans across the galaxy responding, activating more defense nodes, creating a web of protected spacetime. "The purest alliance withdraws its opposition," Kronth announced, its crystalline body vibrating with fear and awe. We had not understood the true nature of the threat, or of humanity's purpose. "Then help us," Sarah pleaded, maintaining the barrier as more humans joined the network, strengthening it. "The Void Eaters are attacking across the galaxy. We need the collective's technology and resources to coordinate our defense. Humanity can provide the quantum consciousness, but we can't do this alone." High Counselor Vaxlith's energy form pulsed with decision. "The collective hereby recognizes humanity as the guardian species. All resources are at your disposal. All technological barriers are lifted. The survival of reality itself takes precedence over all previous protocols." Through the quantum network, Sarah felt the surge of determination from her species. They had spent their entire history looking up at the stars, wondering if they were alone, if they had a greater purpose. Now they knew. They were the universe's immune system, evolved specifically to face this threat. "Coordinate with the defense fleet," she commanded. "We need to establish quantum-reinforced safe zones and begin systematic activation of all Ancient One defense nodes. And get me a direct line to Earth Command. It's time to implement the Luminous Protocol." As the council chamber erupted into organized chaos, Sarah maintained her focus on the quantum barrier. Through it, she could sense more Void Eaters approaching, drawn to this concentration of consciousness and possibility. This was humanity's moment, not just to prove their worth to the galaxy, but to fulfill their cosmic purpose. They had evolved in isolation, developing abilities that seemed impossible, because the universe itself had shaped them for this crisis. The real battle was about to begin. Where infinity bends. The Luminous Protocol transformed Earth into humanity's neural hub. Billions of minds linked through the quantum network, their combined consciousness reaching across the galaxy through the God particles. 3 days into the Void Eater invasion, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Sarah floated in the quantum meditation chamber aboard the Stellar Aegis, the collective's most advanced flagship. Around her, the God particles danced in complex patterns, carrying the thoughts and intentions of every human in the galaxy. Defense node activation at 87%. Martinez reported through the quantum link. The Ancient One's network is almost fully operational. Through their shared consciousness, Sarah felt the truth of his words. Across the galaxy, points of golden light blazed as humanity awakened the dormant defense systems. But it wasn't enough. The Void Eaters were adapting, learning to bypass their quantum barriers. "They're testing us," she realized, the thought rippling through the network. "Every defense we create, they find a way around. They're not just consuming reality. They're studying it, learning." Kextel's crystalline form shimmered with concern. The collective's deep space sensors detect more breaches forming. The Void Eaters are no longer just entering our reality. They're creating new entry points. Sarah opened her eyes, the quantum field showing her visions of what was coming. They're not random attackers. This is a coordinated invasion, an immune response, but not ours. Understanding crashed through the human quantum network like a tidal wave. The Void Eaters weren't simply destroying reality. They were trying to sterilize it, to eliminate what they perceived as an infection, consciousness itself. All commands, all ships, Sarah broadcast through both conventional and quantum channels. Fall back to the defense nodes. We've been fighting this wrong. We're not supposed to stop them. We're supposed to transform them. The Ancient One's message suddenly made perfect sense. Humanity hadn't evolved quantum consciousness to fight the Void Eaters, but to communicate with them, to show them another way. Sarah, Martine's warned through the link. What you're suggesting is the only way, she finished. Everyone, listen carefully. The quantum network isn't just for defense. It's a bridge. We're going to show the Void Eaters what consciousness really is. Through the network, she guided humanity's collective consciousness into a new configuration. Instead of creating barriers against the Void Eaters, they began weaving patterns of possibility around them, not fighting their consumption of reality, but offering new forms of existence. The Void Eaters paused in their advance, their non-existence rippling with what might have been curiosity. Through the quantum field, Sarah reached out to them directly. You see consciousness as a corruption of pure reality. She communicated in concepts and possibilities rather than words. But consciousness is reality's way of knowing itself, of creating new possibilities rather than consuming them. The response came not in thoughts or images, but in the manipulation of probability itself. The Void Eaters were showing them their own origin, a universe of pure mathematical certainty, disturbed by the emergence of consciousness and free will. Then let us show you what consciousness can truly be, Sarah offered, and through the quantum network, humanity opened their combined perception to the Void Eaters. Every human experience, every dream, hope, and possibility flowed through the God particles. The Void Eaters experienced love and loss, joy and sorrow, the infinite variety that consciousness brought to reality. They felt the wonder of discovery, the peace of understanding, the thrill of imagining new possibilities. The effect was immediate and stunning. Instead of consuming probability, the Void Eaters began to resonate with it. Their very nature started to transform, shifting from destroyers of possibility to explorers of it. The defense nodes, Kextol observed in awe. They're not just defensive systems. They're transformation engines. The Ancient Ones built them to offer the Void Eaters a choice. Through the quantum network, Sarah felt the change rippling across the galaxy. The Void Eaters weren't retreating. They were evolving, their consciousness expanding to embrace possibility rather than eliminate it. This is what we were meant to do, she realized. Not to fight them, but to show them a new way of being. To help them transform from entropy's servants to consciousness's companions. The collective council watched in amazement as the Void Eaters began cooperating with the defense nodes, their combined power actually strengthening the fabric of reality rather than unraveling it. What had begun as an invasion was becoming a conversation between fundamentally different forms of existence. Humanity, High Counselor Vaxlith declared, has not just saved reality. They have expanded it. The Void God was not a deity of destruction, but of transformation, and you have helped us all understand its true nature. Sarah felt the truth of it through the quantum network. Humanity's gift wasn't just consciousness or quantum awareness. It was the ability to bridge differences, to find new ways of existing together. They had evolved not to fight the universe's battles, but to help it grow. As the transformed Void Eaters began exploring their new existence, Sarah realized that this wasn't an ending but a beginning. Humanity had found its purpose not in war or defense, but in understanding and transformation. They were the universe's mediators, evolved to help reality itself grow beyond its original boundaries. The quantum network hummed with possibility, and throughout the galaxy, humans smiled as they felt the birth of something entirely new. a harmony between certainty and possibility, between consciousness and void, between what was and what could be. The universe would never be the same. And that, after all, was the whole point.